Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for stopping by IW Hockey. My name's Tyson, and I'm here with Evan at Bauer Hockey. We're here at the headquarters in New Hampshire, and he's going to give us a little bit of insight on the Bauer Supreme line. So we all know that the Supreme line is designed for that power player. Why don't you kind of let us know what features you added to the stick to achieve that?
Yeah, so the big thing for us was obviously how could we make the 195 even better than it was. I think the consumer reception to the stick was off the charts, probably the best stick we've ever made to date. What we wanted to try and do was bring that same look, but evolve it a bit. So it's still a dark base stick, even if it's grip or non-grip. It's still dark based in the player's line of vision, so it's easier to find the puck. From a performance standpoint, we wanted to see if we could make that stick lighter. So you guys are probably familiar with the TechStream carbon fiber we use in the X60. Well, by bringing that TechStream carbon fiber into the entire shaft and blade combination, we're able to reduce the weight by about 30 grams, but still keep the durability high and still keep the playability very good. So it's got great pop. I think it actually probably has more pop than the 195 did, and it's definitely going to last a lot longer because of that. That new TechStream carbon fiber. A lot of concern these days around blade deflection, actually the opening up of the blade. When you use a softer core to get a softer feeling blade, sometimes that blade's going to open up on you. So what we've actually done is what we call our pure shot blade profile. It's this thicker transition between the shaft and the blade. It's going to keep that blade closed so that when you take that big powerful slap shot, the puck's going to go where you want it to go. So that was a big story for us. True one-piece stick, so everything's laid up in the mold, raw if you will, and then everything's heated and together in the same mold. So it's a true one-piece stick. There's not going to be any overlaps in any of the material. What that's going to allow us to do is give you a more consistent playability. There's going to be less material to absorb any of that energy. You're going to get better energy drive through, and it's also going to, since you don't have that weight here, you're going to get a better balance, so a higher balance point. Blade's going to feel lighter, just a better feeling stick in your hand.
With going kind of back to the 195, I understand one of the improvements of the Total One is the blade core, adding a second type of material in there. What would you characterize the different feel, like puck feel, between the 195 and the Total One?
The 195 and the Total One should be, from a feel standpoint, should be almost exactly the same. We use the same aerofoam or that white foam in the heel. That's going to give the blade that structural stability. And we actually use a modified version of what was the Power Core material, which is now what we call Power Core 3. We've been able to lighten the overall weight of the blade, so we can use less of that material because we've been able to enhance the overall feel. So it gives you that softer, more comfortable feel. Versus X60, which can be crisp and like you said before, has a lot of snap to it. The feel of the blade is going to be more about that comfort and being able to tell exactly where it is. So it's an evolution of the 195. It's not completely new. It's how could we make it lighter? How could we make it better? And how can we make even the blade more durable? So it's about bringing all that together and trying to evolve the product to a new step. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good thing to note, that any of those players that fell in love with the feel of the 195, they're not going to be disappointed by the feel that they get out of this stick. And then moving on from there, next stick down in the line,
and those to you.
The 100. Why don't you give us a quick just kind of comparison as far as what's different between the construction of the Total One and the 100?
Okay. So shaft shape is going to be the same. Both sticks will have that tack spiral material, so that textured grip that's going to be on the corners, and evolution of the corner tactile. So from that standpoint, they're the same. After that, they kind of get a little different. So first thing about 100, it's a two-piece. So you're going to have your overlapping fuse joint down here. Now what that's going to do is that's going to kick the kick point up a little bit higher. So for those guys looking for that kind of more old school, traditional, higher mid-kick stick, this is going to be it. The fuse point can actually do one thing that's a benefit to some players. Because of that extra material, it'll absorb some of that energy. It might actually soften the feel as well. So there's a lot of guys who went from shaft, comp shaft, and wood blade to comp shaft and blade, and then have moved into fused one-piece sticks. That's who this stick is meant for. A guy who wants a little bit higher kick point, wants a little bit more energy absorption down here, so you're going to get that better, softer feel. Both sticks will have that pure shot blade profile, so that's going to be that thicker throat to help with the closure of the blade. Another big difference between these two sticks is we're going to use the aerofoam in this. So that same blade we're using in X60, we're using in the 100. Now the reason we did that is because of that fuse point. Blades,
Okay.
the stick's a little heavier. So we wanted to try and make the blade as light as possible. So you'll get a little bit of a snappy feel from the blade, but you'll also get a little bit of energy absorption from that. So, big difference is going to be how does a stick feel in one piece versus how does a stick feel in two piece. So
Great. So I mean, also, I know a lot of the features that we just discussed on these are kind of brought down throughout the rest of the Supreme line.
Sure.
Why don't you kind of maybe highlight just a couple of those features that someone can expect to see just throughout the entire line?
Absolutely. So as you move down the line into the 180, the 160, and even the 30 and the 20, all the shaft shapes are going to be square. The 180 will actually have the tactile, but we'll also add grip. Key price point for us, we make sure that we wanted to add some value. That's going to have that React blade decal. So for those kids that are playing roller or just want something else to absorb some energy, you can throw tape over it for an ice player. Get some good feel out of that stick. It'll have the pure shot blade profile. It'll have a 3K blade, so a real high-end blade on it with the aerofoam. 160 again, going to be that square shaft shape. The higher kick point, that kind of two-piece style kick point. Really nice stiff blade on that. It's going to work well with that stiffer lower in that 160. And then as you kind of come down to the 30 and the 20, higher kick point, square shaft shape, and then just some graphics and some price-conscious opportunities for somebody who's just kind of getting into playing hockey or wants to maybe move from wood into comp, so they can make that kind of jump gradually. But with Supreme, it's square, it's mid or high kick, and it's going to be a nice, pretty nice feeling blade. So that's what you're going to be getting when you go buy Supreme.
Great. All right, well, that's just kind of a quick rundown of the Bauer Supreme hockey sticks. Once again, this is Evan here at Bauer Hockey, and my name's Tyson. And all the Supreme sticks are available now at inlineIcewarehouse.com.